Let's move on to the next topic. I mean, you look at these games since the turn of the year. Burnley at home in the FA Cup, 1-0. Had to rely on a Pedro Porro absolute wonder goal in that game in the last stages. 2-2 against Man United. Yeah, we scored 2 goals, but didn't create bucket loads of chances that game. And then against Man City, where we created little, next to nothing. I mean, is this purely a consequence, Ash, of just how much we miss Heung-min Son and Pape Matar Sarr, or just Heung-min Son?
I think, yes, both Son and Sarr are crucial in the way we play. In terms of Pape Sarr, we saw how important he was when Basuma came back and he wasn't quite looking quite the same. And then when Sarr came back, all of a sudden, ta-da, do you know what I mean? Everything starts to look like we're slowly moving in the right direction. I think in terms of, just in Sarr in particular, the way he, defends, he covers Porro. Porro is not going to be screaming at Johnson as much if Sarr's there because he's able to cover the ground a lot more. I think he's a lot more press resistant. So when Man City are pressing you like that, when Manchester United are trying to press you into a corner or Burnley are doing what they do, you've got a guy that's able to take that pressure and carry up the field. So sometimes he can pass, sometimes he can thread a ball through, but sometimes he can actually help the attacking third by just taking pressure off 1 or 2 players. And I think that's what you get from a Sarr. Never complains, always hardworking. But for me, the most important attribute of a player like that is his bravery. Where like a Højbjerg and possibly a Skip as well, they might take 1 or 2 seconds to dwell on something. And in this style of football, the way we play so quickly, you can't think for more than a second. You need to be instinctive. And that's what you get with Pape Matar Sarr. Now with Son, you get the experience, you get the total package. You get someone that's clinical in front of goal. You get a leader in Son as well. When he talks to his teammates, he does it in a different way. He's not like your Roy Keanes or, because everyone's like really, in my opinion, critical on Son and being a captain. Like he's not shouting, he needs to be pulling their shirt, blah, blah, blah. I don't see him as that. But he leads in his own way. I think it was it Porro or Johnson? I can't remember. One of the players said that, Son, like when he comes into the room, everyone like listens to what he says because he's actually an important figure. And so that tells me that the dressing room have got his respect. So when you've got a player like that leading the line, telling players what to do, do you know what I'm saying? And like earlier, the start of the season, just getting them in front of the fans, making that little huddle, having their little team talk, that's what you're going to get from Son. Do you know what I mean? And as I said before, there was been times when Kane was injured. Yeah, Kane was injured out of the team, and Son was the man that stepped up. And again, this season, you're seeing Son step up. And people look at Sonny and think, nice guy, always smiling, blah, blah, blah. But brother, when you see his dad, everyone was calling him world class. Abby, he ain't no world class, brother. Hey, don't get twisted. Son is a bad boy, because I know his father made him do kick-ups. I think I was watching a documentary for like 2 to 3 hours or 4 hours, he was saying. Yeah. I know Son must have been
20 crying. Hours of kick-ups.
Bro, I'm telling you, the dad probably made him into a man. I guarantee it, man. And I think underneath all those smiles, you're seeing a cold killer. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why and that's what we're missing. We're missing someone that I remember that goal he scored against Burnley, like that hat trick, that was sensational. I know it was such a long time ago, but his movement, like sometimes he felt like a false 9. Sometimes he felt like he was leading the line. He knew when to run as well. He knows how to bring. And then what kills it, he was doing well in a 9 position. We moved him to the left and he still delivered. How about that? He still delivered. Because I was like, oh, Son's not really a left winger anymore. Like, he's not really a winger anymore. He just kept everyone quiet. Do you understand? He's the boss. So, yes, we are missing a quality player as Son is. And we are missing Sarr's legs and his tenacity and his ability just to kind of just not overthink things, just do things off the cuff. So yeah, I think if we had those 2 players like moving forward against Man United, the Burnleys, the Cities, I think we do a better job personally. They're really important to how we play. And when you're looking for leaders those two guys, they turn up, man. And I really like those two players, man, as you can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was evident to see, especially in that Newcastle game when Pape Matar came back, how much we actually missed him, how pivotal he is to this team. And we always do look, in my opinion, a bit disjointed. Never mind Son when Pape Sarr doesn't play. But for you, David, how much are we missing them and how pivotal are they to the team, both of them?
Absolutely huge. I think you look at Pape Matar's stats this season, I think he's missed, 5 games, and we haven't won in all 5 games. So that probably alludes to how important he is in terms of defensively and forward, linking absolutely everybody together. And it's just a work rate of the kid, how humble he is. There's no ego about him. He just goes out there, does what needs to be done. He never looks at it and goes, I'm too good for that, which a lot of players have done at Tottenham in the past few years. So we absolutely miss him in that regard. And look, when it comes to Son, I remember having a debate on here a few weeks ago about why he should be moved out to the left-hand side. And I always maintained it's because of the creativity. He's that guy that we look to far too often to be able to get on the ball and go and make something happen. You even go back to that Nottingham Forest game. Nothing was happening until he started getting on the ball, driving at players, swinging balls into the box. He's the catalyst going forward. He's the only player in that front line that can actually create as well as finish. And look, also to sort of allude how important he is, Postecoglou wouldn't have played him through injury in the early part of the season if he wasn't important to this team in terms of creativity and also finishing, especially in the big games. But look, for me, I think the wider point should be is, Tottenham need to do more in the forward area in the transfer market. We shouldn't be so reliant on one player to be able to provide the goals and the assists. I spoke about the last time we were on about the Timo Werner deal. I said financially, no risk at all. But in terms of ambition-wise, it'll come back to cost us. FA Cup is already gone. Man United, he had a couple of good chances as well, didn't take them. So I feel like my sort of concerns around the Timo Werner signing are starting to come true. For me, it's Tottenham just need to realise you can't just rely on one man to do the business. You have to have a plethora of forwards. You look at Man City stock right throughout. You look at Liverpool stock right throughout and on the bench. Same with Man City. They're the teams you want to overcome. You can't be relying on one player over the whole season. You have to have 3 or 4 players that you can rely on that can step up. If one's having an off day, the other one steps in and does it. So for me, yeah, we miss Pape Matar. Yes, we miss Son. But we should not be in this position where we were relying on one attacking player when we've had one of the best attack lines in the Premier League over the last decade. And I argue now we've won the worst attack lines, in the Premier League right now, and one of our worst attack lines in well over a decade. And the only way of sorting it out is money. We can't be taking punts on players anymore, sort of, especially in that area. Will they come good? Will they not? The whole Werner signing, when everyone was like, if he comes good, and everyone was like, if he doesn't come good. For me, ifs don't wash it anymore. You have to bring in the right players with the right quality for that area. Scoring goals and creating goals is the hardest thing to do in football. It's been the same around the game for so long. Why are we ignoring it? You have to have the right players with the right mentality and the right and the big game mentality, also the elite mentality that want to do it week in, week out. We've got players right now who they shy away from the big occasion. Werner shied away the other night. Johnson shied away the other night. The going got tough and they didn't want to know. We can't have players like that. We have to get back to having one of the best forward lines in the Premier League. We have to. We can't just be relying on one attacker. It always used to be the same with Harry Kane. But what people didn't want to mention, when we didn't have Harry Kane, we had Son. We had one or the other. And when we had both, we were absolutely lethal. Now we've got one. He ain't there. We can't create chances. It's a problem. I'd argue it's been a problem all season. I sort of highlighted it way back in pre-season. The wing situation for me just hasn't looked right all season. You go back all season as well. We haven't created a lot of clear-cut chances this season. Nowhere near it. We created more clear-cut chances under Conte and Jose Mourinho than what we are so far this season. It's just we have been clinical with what we've took. But we need to create more and we need to take more if we want to become that deadly force.
Sim, you agree?
I don't agree that we have one of the worst front lines in the league. I think that's what was said in that statement. But I do agree that Son is being missed for sure. And I do agree with David that I don't even think it's necessarily his clinical edge that we're missing, because we know he's the best finisher in the league. We know how clinical he can be, but what Son has really done this season, which is he's made his game all round. He's really stepped up in the creative department this season. His all-round game's been really, really strong. I think when it comes to chances created, he's actually near the top of the league. When it comes to through balls, I think accurate through balls, I think he's first for 80% of his through balls to be accurate. Maybe that's because he hasn't had that many, but still, when he does attempt a through ball, it tends to be accurate. I do think still his best position for me is in the number 9. I've said that, but he has been playing on the wing and doing really well, so I have to give him credit. And I think when it comes to the United game and the Burnley game, I think he was missed massively. Just that quality in the final third that was really lacking. Just not just the ability to finish off chances, but to create good quality chances, to have that interplay in and around the penalty area, which Son has, which I've criticised Son in the past of lacking. It's something that he's really built on this season, and maybe being given the captain's armband, he's just assumed that responsibility of more of a team player rather than just focusing on, I've got to get a good shot off and get in a goal scoring position. It feels like he's really added that team play to his game, and that's definitely something.
Just quickly, I hear the point about Maddison coming back, but he'll provide numbers for himself and probably Richarlison. It still doesn't make up for the fact that Brennan Johnson can't control the ball, link up play, or cross a ball. It still doesn't make up for the fact that Werner's a makeshift winger because he couldn't score goals up front. And he can't cross a ball. He doesn't have that link up play and stuff like that. So it still doesn't solve that issue. The whole thing is, you're supposed to have different pieces of the puzzle. So you should have a Maddison, you should have a Son, and you should have others. You can't just be reliant on, and this is the problem at Tottenham Hotspur. Down the years, we've been so very reliant on just a couple of players to dig us out the hole every single week. We need to move on from that sort of thinking, and we need to have more options available to us and stop carrying players. They're not good enough. Get them out. I'm bringing the next guys that will be good enough. The front three, scoring goals and assisting goals, the hardest thing to do in football. I think we take it for granted. We did with Harry Kane. Look at the clamour with people that were very okay to let him go without wanting so much as a massive replacement. And now we're all sitting here talking about the creativity. It's been an issue all season. The reason why I campaigned to move Son out to the left-hand side in the first place is because we weren't creating opportunities before that as well. So it just needs to be upgraded. It's that simple. We had the opportunity. We bought Brennan Johnson. It hasn't worked out. We had the opportunity to go again in January. We took a chance on bringing Timo Werner here in on loan with an option to buy if he comes good. Well, we're paying the price for it. We have to take the lessons and go and address it properly this summer.